When we're looking at the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100, it's impossible to not notice the volatility that's taking place. You literally just dropped 300 points on the NASDAQ about 2 hours ago to right now, and you've bounced back up 200 points. Now, why is all this happening? So we're told from Donald Trump to start this week, it's all going to be okay. President Xi just lost his mind for a second, basically, but he'll come around. And then this is what's being released and told to us basically out of the White House. China hopes market pressures will push the U.S. to negotiate. China expects recent trade tensions in the U.S., hoping losses will prompt Donald Trump to offer concessions after pausing mutual tariffs earlier this year. Both sides remain cautious amid renewed trade frictions. Now, we know that they're supposed to meet President Xi and Donald Trump very soon, supposedly in South Korea, maybe even sooner, somewhere else. But basically what's being told to us, I'm just the messenger. I'm repeating what's out there, what's circulating from the news, is that China is basically manipulating and trying to make the U.S. market drop, crash, tank, whatever you want to say, in hopes that this hurts Donald Trump's ego and that he will be like, okay, well, our economy's hurting. We need to meet in the middle, and hopefully they'll make, the U.S. will make concessions. Well, this is also what we're getting out of there, okay? So we have to understand what's going on. So again, I recommend to follow on Twitter so you get all the updates. I repost them as they come in, as you guys can see, okay? And we need to talk about the government shutdown also, okay? So he comes out, and Besant, again, comes out from the White House and says, the World Bank needs to end support for China, and then goes on to say that nobody, and especially the United States, should not be trusting China. These don't sound like good relations. This doesn't sound like anything's going to be okay or be resolved. And I'm not trying to push this idea of go short, sell everything, the market crashes around the corner. Again, transparently clear. I have no long-term short positions, meaning I might short in the middle of the day, but I'm getting out before market close every single time. I am not holding anything overnight as of right now because of what's happening here. And I think I'd be a liar or a manipulator to tell you guys that, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what's happening. And I can promise you in the next week, this is what's going to happen. I'm not here to try to predict the market. I use this channel to express what I'm seeing, how I interpret it, and then ultimately how I'm going to react off of these moves based off of levels and stocks that we like to trade here. Very important to understand. That's the mission of this channel. It's not to, you come here tomorrow and I'm going to predict the future. That's a lying. That's snake oil. No one's doing that. They'd be multi-billionaires if they were, okay? So let's understand a little bit what's happening right now, okay? So basically, China said this earlier I think Monday, they came out and they said this. China says it will fight to the very end after the U.S. said it was trying to hurt the world economy, okay? Again, very important to see what's actually coming out here. Now, they are supposed to meet. Those rumors are true. But again, nothing's actually nothing good is actually taking place. There's been no progress, right? From this brand new here this was yesterday, I believe, last night. China consumer spending falls on pressure on the economy as it builds. Very important to understand this. Trump made a comment earlier as well, saying that China doesn't want a depression for their country, anything like that. I want you to understand this right now. China is basically already in one. China's market has been in shambles for the past few years, really since COVID. It's got a bit of a bounce back here and there, but you need to understand that they've still been in a very bad situation. And in my opinion, they're okay. They're like, well, why would we do this? Worst case scenario, we battle this another three years, we get a new president, we'll get them to do what we want. I'm not saying it's going to last that long, but I'm just saying this is where China is at. And that's just the truth. That's just the God's honest truth. Now, it's important to realize, it's very important to realize Trump could bend. He very well might. And on my opinion, the market's kind of anticipating Trump to bend. Outside looking in. Say that right now. But again, what is going on? And I would be willing to bet all the money in the world that we get new headlines tomorrow, the next day, and the next day after that. Thank God we don't get these crazy headlines over the weekend, or it would really be terrible. But that's what you have to be thinking about, and that's the fundamental side of what's going on. Now, we're going to go into the stocks. We're going to go into the levels, everything you need to be watching. So let's get right into that. But before we do that, I do want to say right now, if you want to see what we're trading how we're trading every single day. The Discord link is down below. Again, the biggest trades we had on the day, honestly, was a pretty sweet day. So we started the day trying to go short on Coinbase, and it just didn't work out. And then we made money on Coinbase as it fell down later on with that dip that we had. We traded Tesla as well. We traded AMD. That was the monster trade. Shout out to Jordan. We went long immediately after the 227 break, went almost into all-time highs. So again, those are the trades here on the day. You get access to what we're looking at the futures rundown every single day. You get to see everything in between. Do what you got to do. The link is there. There should be a few more spots for the starter plan, which probably will end up closing very soon. So again, that link is down below. Now, looking at the levels for SPY, it's important to realize the levels have been pretty great. So I like to look at the 15 minutes. You can see how the intraday action's going. The bottom level, basically you have two spots you're really watching. Okay. You're watching this big level. I'm going to star them for you so you can just see real quick. Okay. So we have this one right here, right there. And then you have your bigger one at the top up here. Okay. So you have this one and this one. You're 659, 667. You're basically just ping-ponging in this range so far. Now, your big level also is down here at the 50 MA, 652, 653-ish now, down here. You lose that, it's also going to be pretty bad. But you're spending a bulk of your time in this range right here. Okay, so you continue to find buyers as you come down. And so what I recommend and how I'm kind of trading right now is really, really simple. As we get to the top of this range, I slow down on my trading. Very simple. As you get to the bottom of this range, I slow down on my trading. Now, if you start breaking below this range, I do target back to the 50 MA, but ultimately I'm not getting aggressive when we're getting in the top and the bottom of the range, which seems really elementary, which seems super simple, but a lot of people like over trading. And you have to be watching what's happening with SPY here throughout the day so you understand and you're not getting caught in trades. Like I did with Amazon literally yesterday, which was I was just being stupid and too aggressive. QQQ coming back to the basically the top of this range, 603. You have the breakout, you just gave it all up. So again, you are sitting in a range. It's very, very clear. Take a screenshot. Again, I have not changed these levels. You guys can see from yesterday's video, the video before that, all these levels remain the same on the chart. So again, I recommend you take advantage of the levels while you can. I'm also post them on Twitter, so you can check them out there also. So again, very important what you're looking at. If you get above 607 on QQQ, I think you're going to all-time highs. Very important to know that and be watching that. Okay. Now with futures, starting with Dow, Dow has looked pretty solid. I will tell you that. Probably the best looking index as far as futures are concerned on the day, but I will say you're bouncing back the worst. Important to know that. So you had a nice dip down to 46.1, bouncing back off that, but you're grinding on the 50 MA. If you actually lose this on the daily, it's going to be bad news bears. So important to understand that. NASDAQ, good bounce back up. You still look pretty solid. Again, you're just holding all of our levels down here, 24.65. Again, I like to use Discord because it shows you guys exactly what I'm talking about, why I'm looking at it. So again, this morning futures, the rundown at literally 8, you can see the time. I keep all the timestamps. 8:17, 15 minutes before market open. A little late today, but yeah. So under 24.97, looking for 24.8, and then down to 24.65 to 24.7. Those levels were already marked out. Literally went right down to 24.65, literally to the tick. So again, nothing's out of the ordinary. Nothing looks, god awful just yet. Again, I will say the fundamental side of things look a lot worse. Okay, very important to understand that. Things sound a lot worse than they are right now. Okay, especially if you're just looking at the charts, you'd be like, we look fine, we look totally okay. And the other side of this is you look at something like NASDAQ. And what I would like to highlight, let me get rid of all the drawings here, is what you can see is you're making higher lows. Look, this is your first low when we first got all this stuff announced last Friday. This is your dip on Tuesday, bottomed out. This is your low on today, Wednesday. Higher lows are being established, and you've actually made a higher high out of this. So again, like if I'm just looking at futures and I just zoom out to the daily chart, you still look really good, which again, I understand. Like you're like, well, Tyler, you just said all that bad stuff is going on, like with Donald Trump and China. That is all true. I'm just reading you the news. Like maybe I'm pushing my bias in how I'm saying it, but I'm literally just trying to tell you exactly what's being said. And if you are interpreting that as bearish, you're just using some common sense and logic, right? And it's important to realize the stock market isn't always logical. It's not always going to make sense to you or to me in the way that you're moving, right? That's what I always tell people. Stop trying to, I said in the beginning, I'm not trying to predict what's going to happen. Now, if I'm long-term buying a stock investing, I am predicting that we're going to go up. But I want to say it's very important to understand what I'm saying here. if you're looking at the market short term, you cannot get into the game of predicting. You have to be in the game of reacting. And that's really what you're doing. So when you push down to the 50 MA and you bounce, like I mentioned here, the yellow line's your 50-day moving average. You've been grinding above that since basically August. Like you've tested it, and you're doing the same thing. So if you're trying to expect a different result when nothing's really changed, it's important to understand. That's why I keep saying, like, I'm not holding shorts overnight. Nothing's really shifted or changed there. If we start to lose the 50 MA, I might start going short, targeting previous all-time highs. But as of right now, there's just no reason to start doing that. I do think fundamentally there's a lot of concern. I think it makes a lot of sense to be cautious. Like I keep saying, caution. Today, further reason why you should be cautious, because I guarantee if you were long on something, you probably got shaken out of a position here on the day when QQQ dropped literally from 605 down to 595 in a matter of an hour and like 10 minutes. I probably would have got stopped out too. So that's why I keep saying, just relax, be cautious. Let's get this over with. Let's see like the horizon, hopefully. Let's see something good start coming down in the works. So important to understand that. Now, as far as equities, I like to see one of the biggest things and biggest signs for a good market, in my opinion, is Nvidia. And again, a lot of you might not agree, but that's okay. This is just my channel, my thoughts. Nvidia below 184 is an issue. I've continued to say it. Nvidia not able to stay above 184 is going to be problems. And you continue to reject. So you open up today right above it and you get stuck below, immediately reject and push back down. Again, this is an issue. If you lose the 50 MA here near 179, you're coming down to 176 in a hurry. And then after that, I mean, really, we get into this tough spot of your next level is 173. You have a spot all the way down here at 169. So you could start seeing this roll quick. So very important to understand that. On the other side, some of your best stocks today are semiconductors. AMD, which is still trying to break all-time highs. It's doing its thing. This is awesome. Killing it. Again, I'm not super bullish for long-term here until they start printing some good numbers, but it looks good. You broke 227, above 227. It's an instant long. You almost pushing all-time highs so far. Really awesome. AVGO, holding up as well. AMAT looks really good. I almost called Donnie Donald. Donnie in Discord called this out. Started hammering this one, right? ASML, some of these other names, like they don't look that bad. The only one that's really looking terrible, even TSM holding up. TSM trying to push in. TSM wants to break all-time highs. This is a very bullish chart as well. So again, like you look at all these names, like they look really solid, right? Then you go down the other list of like what's happening with some of the other names. Where's crypto at, right? You're sitting at 111, sitting at lows. This is concerning. Like what's happening? And then you go to IWM. You broke an all-time highs, kind of cooling off right now. Still looks really good though. But again, in my opinion, the market's clearly mixed. It's clear as day. The strongest, biggest leaders that you've had, in my opinion, aren't really leading you right now. Those names being Apple, which is under 250, can't get above 250, you look pretty decent. Nvidia stuck below your big level there. Microsoft sitting at the 50-day moving average, trying to break down below, pretty concerning, but below 518 doesn't look that good. Netflix has been a very strong name, but again, looking weaker and weaker. I can go into, I wouldn't say Tesla's a big leader. I would go into Meta. Meta, again, stuck below 719. And I'm telling you, if this ever breaks 691, you short this shit all the way down to 671 in a hurry. It's one of the easiest trades of all time to the 200 SMA. But again, like some of the biggest names aren't looking the greatest. Google looks pretty good. But again, I wouldn't say Google has been a leader in the past recent months. Amazon hasn't been a leader, but still just sitting at the 200-day moving average, which traditionally I would love buying this here, but I'm just like, dude, like you just don't look great. You just really don't. So when I'm looking at this, that's where my head's at, is the names that have been carrying us, they look shaky. The other names look really good. They're still getting continuation, trying to break all-time highs, trying to keep breaking out. And maybe this is me being a little bit too cautious. But when you're looking at this from a viewpoint of, the past 4 or 5 months has been long. This, and then other people saying this is the top, this is the bubble, whatever. I don't care about all that. Maybe it is. But I think you're seeing more signs to just slow down and be patient, which maybe I sound like a broken record, guys. But that's what I think the move is right now. Slow down, be patient. And again, like if you've been patient, then these quick moves haven't really tore you up, But if you're being hyper aggressive, this is killing you. And then the other part of this is Scott Bessent, again, straight out of the White House. We believe that the shutdown may start costing the U.S. economies $15 billion a day. Again, so can't be great, can be solid, can be amazing. This is not, it's not amazing news. So again, what I'm looking at, what I'm watching. If you have any questions, comment down below. All my trades, everything that I'm posting as far as setups I'm watching for, I'll post them either on Twitter, talk about them here in the later video tonight. But again, what I'm looking at right now, not a lot of trades that I'm loving right now. I will say if we dip at all, I think the opportunity is Coinbase down to the 50 MA 326, MicroStrategy as well down towards 280. I think that's a really big trade that could be in the works here. So those are some of your weaker names out there right now. If you start getting a lot of upside, I would love to see Meta mount 719. Above 719, I think you're really bullish, to be totally honest. You've been weaker recently, but I'd be watching that. Tesla above 439 is a long. That's the one trade I looked to go long on it. I didn't get to go long on it though because you never mounted. You came back down to 426, which is probably a buying opportunity. Didn't get into that, but still there as well. AMD's going straight up, can't do nothing there. Nvidia's a long back above 184. Until then, can't really do much. Microsoft, if you hold the 50-day MA, you might move back into 517, 518. 518 is a big resistance. Be watching that as well. But again, those are some of the biggest names I'm watching currently right now. And shout out to Oracle if you traded it, guys. Above 292, again, it's a long. Below 292, it's a short. You held 292, push back into 306, big levels there. So appreciate you guys. See you next time. Video coming out later. We'll talk about more about that in the next video. Have a good one, traders.